Today, we want to talk about something that had a humble beginning from a small village in Gujarat, rose through the ranks, and against all odds has reached a point where they're practically running the country. Dude, why are you so obsessed with this? We want to talk about India's biggest conglomerate, Reliance, and more specifically, its overachieving post-pubescent hormoned-up kid, Jio. Boasting the tag of India's biggest telecom and digital services provider, Jio has recently managed to raise $20 billion from 13 different companies in the matter of just a few months. But like any good segue, before we talk about where they are, it's important to know where they came from. And I know you didn't come here for a history lesson, so I'm going to try and do this in under 1 minute. Okay, here we go. Reliance Industries began as a small yarn trading business in Mumbai by a man called Dhirubhai Ambani. That grew into a massive manufacturing company which turned into large-scale industrial units, expanded into the capital markets, and finally culminated in a first-of-its-kind IPO in the 1970s. This move made Dhirubhai one of India's biggest business tycoons and saw his entry into other ventures like petroleum, power, and chemicals until his sad demise in 2002. After which, and this is important, the company was divided into two parts between his sons Mukesh and Anil Ambani, spurring the most epic sibling rivalry since Jaden and Willow Smith's competition to disappoint their parents. And that included defamation lawsuits and accusations that could have cost them billions of dollars. You know, general brother stuff. And while Mukesh and his companies followed in his father's footsteps and succeeded, Anil and his companies, also followed in his father's footsteps and died. Sorry, I know that was a bit harsh, but this twat's net worth literally fell by $40 billion in 11 years. That's like losing $10 million a day. And while Joker's ledger tanked, this dark night rose and Mukesh Ambani's success led to the creation of Reliance Jio in 2007. Jio made its introduction by disrupting the Indian telecom sector. It offered free calls and slashed data by 98% and in no time garnered more than 400 million users. Their aggressive pricing strategy led to other service providers either shutting shop completely or entering into mergers with former competitors. Seriously, we haven't seen this sort of a forced partnership since, this happened.
आपके अंदर मेरे लिए नफरत है, आपके अंदर मेरे लिए गुस्सा है, आपके लिए मैं पप्पू हूँ, आपके लिए मैं अलग-अलग गाली दे सकते हो, मगर मेरे अंदर आपके खिलाफ इतना सा भी गुस्सा, इतना सा भी क्रोध, इतनी सी भी नफरत नहीं है.
No, this is not necessary. No.
That is a real clip from the Indian Parliament. And after Jio's success in the telecom space, they launched Jio Platforms, a massive umbrella company offering a plethora of digital services, including Jio Mart, Jio Fiber, Jio Net, Jio Security, ads, money, and the list goes on. I mean, the next thing you know, they'll even venture out into non-related markets like Jio Matrimony, which helps you host lavish, over-the-top weddings that will inconvenience the entire city. Or, Jio Construction, helping men overcompensate since 2010. But coming back to our main discussion, that $20 billion figure we spoke about earlier, it's important to note that this wasn't a result of just pure investments, but actually strategic alliances made by Jio with a variety of companies. This list includes Facebook, Google, KKR, Retrograde, Saudi Sovereign Fund, Vista Equity, Silver Lake, DLM, General Atlantic, Digital Line, and just many more. There are literally so many companies that have invested in them that you didn't even notice that 3 of these are just songs by the artist James Blake. Which proves my point that he is severely underplayed. Seriously, go check him out. And to prove our point that these are in fact strategic alliances, think about the fact that their partnership with Facebook will help them integrate with WhatsApp's 400 million Indian users. The partnership with Google will help them execute their plan to create an affordable smartphone. Alliances with companies like Intel and Qualcomm will help them in expanding 5G infrastructure. And look, I know what you're thinking. A lot of rich people making strategic alliances based on personal preferences. This is basically an episode of Indian matchmaking. Except even the 4th richest man in the world is less pretentious than this guy.
So Auntie, we have used liquid nitrogen in this. Basically, liquid nitrogen is minus 178 degrees Celsius. And because of the texture of the fox nut, it can absorb that things and you can eat it. And that's the reason the smoke comes out as well.
Rad. But unlike all of Seema Auntie's efforts, Jio's stars have actually seemed to align. First and foremost, an important thing that we haven't spoken about yet, but that is extremely worrisome, is the highly speculative fact that Mukesh Ambani shares a close personal relationship with the current government. Sid, finally, you get to use your favorite image. Since this government came to power in 2014, Mukesh Ambani has amassed more wealth than he ever had in the previous 58 years of his life. We did the math and his net worth increased by $17 million per day. Damn. Learn something from your brother, Anil. Further, in 2019, the Supreme Court upheld a highly controversial order on gross revenue passed by the Department of Telecom. Simply put, this order revised the rules of revenue calculations, resulting in massive penalties for most telecom companies, while Jio, one of the biggest, came out pretty much unscathed. And look, we're not saying that his close personal ties with the government were in any way instrumental to Jio being fined a few $1 million while its competition was slapped with billions in penalties. I mean, it could very well be Jio's luck that the authorities have time and again tweaked laws at optimal moments for them. You know, just a happy coincidence. And further, keep in mind that one of the biggest investors in Jio has been Facebook, snagging 10% of the company for a mammoth $5.7 billion. You know what? Here I go with the numbers again. Sid, I think this is the perfect time to announce that the HST team is leveling up production. Today, we want to introduce our brand new state-of-the-art robot alien hybrid correspondent, MZ3000. Take it away, MZ.
I wanted to share an important update, that Facebook is joining forces with a new partner in India. We're making a major financial investment and we're going to become the largest minority shareholder in Jio platforms. But more than that, we're also committing to work together on some critical projects that we think are going to open up a lot of opportunities for commerce in India. And it's also in the middle of a major digital transformation that's being led by organizations like Jio that over the last 4 years have worked to get hundreds of millions of Indians onto the internet. And that's a big deal because when people get access to the internet and digital tools, they're empowered to do a whole lot of new things, learning and teaching and finding communities of people they care about, and of course, starting all kinds of new businesses.
And we can sell sensitive information to anyone for the use of unethical targeted advertising. And we can use the guise of freedom of speech to allow fake news to spread and radicalize. Or how about you shut the fuck up and do the only thing that you're still good for and remind us when our friends' birthdays are? Look, Facebook has gained an infamous reputation in recent years with respect to data privacy, with some experts claiming that their partnering with Reliance is sort of like paying protection money. So Jio is using its contacts to get rich entitled fucks out of trouble. And as we know, they have some good experience with that. And this battle goes beyond the digital landscape with services like JioMart. A vital part of Jio's retail expansion, JioMart wants to help local mom and pop stores connect with consumers like us through technology. And while that seems awesome, it comes with the catch that these establishments must obey to make Jio their sole distributor. And okay, let's still give Jio the benefit of the doubt. Given their large financial footing, they might even yield lower prices for these stores. And that also sounds very cool. But we actually visited their website and noticed something extremely fishy. Jio subtly pushes its own store brand without any indication that it is in fact their own. These products sell for significantly cheaper, and obviously most consumers prefer this. So while you think that you're supporting your local Kirana store, you might just be indirectly filling Jio's pockets. Look, to conclude, we understand that this is capitalism at its finest, and this is the way of the world. Companies like Amazon have done exactly this in the past, and it's worked wonders for them. And just the fact that we too have personally used JioMart for our groceries and JioFiber for our internet during this lockdown proves that they are providing convenient services that are somewhat unavoidable. Even while we were researching for this episode, it was so difficult to find anything negative about Jio. And that's just the thing. Sure, Jio in the short term is easy to accept and will actually really improve our lives. But the long-term implications might be a hard pill to swallow. Having just one company in charge of everything in your life, from home security to the content you consume to the network that you use to consume it, seems convenient until it becomes omnipresent. For the purposes of a really bad pun, too much reliance on Jio could never be a good thing. A company with the forces of the government, technology, and infrastructure on its side in a country like India is practically unstoppable. And I know, to say that an Indian company could be the next Amazon is huge. But having said that, in a country where there are more than 350 million people living in poverty, let's not add more zeros to the fourth richest man in the world.
Sushi, keep it raw, she do eat. Fiji in my jacuzzi, I buy her all she do need. She get loose with all that jewelry. Want my child like Louis, but she's draped in all that Gucci.
Keep it raw, she juicy. I keep it raw like sushi.